Okay, so MDTC stands for Marine Division Tactics Course. It's put on by MOTS 1, hosted here by MAG 31. The purpose is to train instructors in division level tactics for the Fleet Marine Force and for our squadrons here in Beaufort to become instructors. And when I say division, a division explained is 4 aircraft that fly in formation together and execute missions such as offensive counter-air, defensive counter-air, air interdiction or strikes, where we go in and fight our way into a target, drop bombs, and fight our way back out. So MDTC culminates there in making those flight leads or division leads into instructors that can then go on to train our ready rooms and our young aviators in formulation of executing those tactics, and we can do it here at the squadron level. They are certified instructors by MOTS 1, which is our aviation schoolhouse, and they're taught by other F-18 instructors there on the MOTS 1 staff. And that through the course they are being evaluated by MOTS 1 instructors, and then upon completion of the course they will graduate and then be certified instructors in the F-18 as division tactics instructors. Okay, the events and tasks. So MDTC is a 3-phased approach. So it's actually 4 weeks in total, 3 weeks of flying. The first week is all academics. And MDTC, while it's in aviation and it's focused on the F-18, is not just for F-18 instructors. It also includes air intercept controllers from the Marine Air Control Groups, or the MCAS. Represents students from MAX 1, 2, and 3 across the FMF are here also participating in the course, and they are also students. So throughout the course, so the first week is academics, then they will move on to the flight phase. The first phase is basic fighter maneuvers, where they will go out and demonstrate proficiency and instructor qualities in fighting. Dog fighting is the layman's term for it there. So they will do 1 week of BFM, then VMFT 401, our Marine Adversary Squadron flying F-5s from MCAS Yuma, are also here on deck. So after they show proficiency in fighting against another Hornet in basic fire maneuvers, they will then go on and fight a F-5 and then move on to fighting 2 F-5s in a dog fighting scenario where 2v2, 2 against 2, with 2 Hornets against 2 F-5s, and the F-5s are executing adversary tactics, and we'll look they'll need to perform, demonstrate proficiency in fighting the F-5s. Upon completion of the BFM phase, they move on to the air interdiction phase, which is a 4-ship division. It's really their first introduction to division tactics. So they will fight in a strike route, simulated adversary country with a target, with unprotected airspace, contested airspace. So they will have to fight against 4 F-5s to get to the target, deliver ordnance on a target, and then turn around and fight 4 F-5s to get back to a blue country or a host nation, which we would be supporting major combat operations from. Upon completion of the air interdiction phase, they will then move on to defensive counter-air, and this is when the problem set gets bigger. It's more of a crawl, walk, run type mindset here as the level of intensity of the adversary increases throughout the course. On the defensive counter-air phase, they will go out and have a 20 to 30 minute time on station where they must support a defended asset. Say it was an air base where, say, the TAC is at, or another host nation defended asset. It could be as much a scenario as a downed air crew, and they have to defend that point for a 20 to 30 minute period against an unknown number of adversaries, normally in the realm between 6 to upwards of 12 at the culmination of MDTC, and have to maintain that vol and continue to win and attrite the enemy to protect the defended asset. Upon completion of those 3 phases, they will then graduate and become MDTIs, or Marine Division Tactics Instructors. Participants of MDTC, so it's kind of a 2-part question. So MDTC is focused on the students. It brings together, like I said, it's MAX air intercept control students and F-18 students from across the FMF. Right now in this MDTC, as I alluded to, we have all MAX 1, 2, and 3 air intercept controller students, as well as students from locally here in MAG 31 and also MAG 11 in Miramar. The second part of that is that participation is across the whole base. So it's not just the squadrons host the aircraft, so the maintainers are working to provide the aircraft to support the course. You also have the Marine Corps Air Station here with fuel support. MWSD 273 is providing fuel support with bulk fuel with a FARP here locally on the airfield. Air traffic controllers, the TTR here in the civilians who run the tactical ranges out over the water. And VMFT 401 is, from Yuma is here to provide support. So in totality, I would say you probably have about 800 to 900 Marines supporting MDTC writ large when you encompass all the external support requirements that go into hosting the course. MDTC is important to our maintainers, aircrew. From the perspective of the course, it's going to make instructors that provide the training support for our young ready room to get them up to to help build their qualifications as they progress in their experience in the F-18. They start they come here with no quals, and then we have to build that qualification matrix. Those MDTIs are critical to building our ready room and building readiness to make our squadrons ready to go forward and fight. The maintainers, it's critical for them as well, is that they have to maintain full mission capable aircraft to support the course. They need to focus on having all the combat systems of the aircraft operational for every flight, which is, it's more intensive for them to maintain that aircraft readiness to meet the requirements that are needed for the aircrew to complete. MDTC also tests our ability to fight against our adversary. So in conjunction with making the MDTIs, it's also testing our ability to fight our peer and near-peer adversaries in combat and making sure that our aircrew are qualified to go up against the high-end threat that we face out there in defending the nation. MDTC is unique is that it is the culminating instructor qualification required to go to the Weapons and Tactics Instructors course put on by MOTS 1 there in Yuma, which is the culminating qualification for any F-18 aircrew to be the all-around instructor enabled to instruct in any of the mission sets that the F-18 is required to execute in combat. MDTC is conducted here at MCAS Beaufort every winter training cycle. MDTC is put on by MOTS 1 twice a year. And every winter it's hosted here at MCAS Beaufort. So it's hosted, MDTC is required to be hosted at an F-18 MAG. So it's been hosted previously in MCAS Miramar, MCAS Iwakuni, and also here at MCAS Beaufort. Traditionally, the way the training cycle just works out is that MCAS Beaufort hosts it every winter. The end state of MDTC is to provide graduates of the Marine Division Tactics course and graduate them as instructors to go forward to teach in their operating forces, squadrons, to train their younger aircrew and younger controllers on the tactics required to execute against the high-end threat that we face as a nation. The graduates of MDTC are top-notch instructors who then go forward to train their ready rooms to take the fight to the enemy. MDTC contributes to overall readiness by providing instructors that are required to meet the mission essential task list and the mission essential tasks assigned to us by Headquarters Marine Corps to fight in the 6 functions of marine aviation. And of those 6 functions of marine aviation, our individual mission essential tasks, as the F-18 has, to go forward and do defensive counter-air, offensive air warfare, air interdiction and strike, and also some of the other air-to-ground METs, but MDTC specifically focuses on the air-to-air mission essential tasks. And what we get out of MDTC is instructors who can teach and instruct, and our top-notch instructors that go forward to train to the ready rooms. Also in MDTC, I'll stop there. The second part of MDTC is the 80% Readiness Initiative. So earlier this year, the Office of Secretary of Defense issued a memorandum requiring all TAC air within the DoD to achieve an 80% readiness initiative. And that 80% readiness is focused mainly on the aircraft material condition. It has been an initiative that we have been, that has not been taken lightly. We have seen through budget increases in FY19 of initiatives put forward to increase our readiness. We are slowly starting to see the fruits of those dollars being spent and injected into the F-18 maintenance in our aircraft. We are seeing a an uptick in readiness performance, but we need to continue to, and we'd like to see that readiness continue with as long as we can continue to be funded to the current levels that we are in FY19. So with that being said, MDTC is a good look at how we can put aircraft to achieving, putting multiple aircraft out to fight a high-end threat, and be ready to be able to fight tonight against any adversary that comes up against the nation. While MDTC is purely focused on air-to-air training, this is the first line of defense of making sure we have instructors who are ready to go out and train our ready rooms so that when they're on cap on a defensive counter-air, defending that defended asset, that could be a Marine rifle company down on the ground who is, we're there to, the threat could be an enemy aircraft and, you know, from whatever nation that threatens our Marines, that we're the first line of defense to make sure that aircraft never comes within strike distance to our fellow Marines on the ground. So we will take that fight as far forward as we can, trite those enemy aircraft to make sure bombs or cruise missiles can never be delivered against that rifle squad on the ground as they do their business in triting the enemy forces on the ground. So the maintenance crews for MDTC prepare the airplanes that have to go out and support the course. While not directly under an evaluation by MOTS 1 and under MDTC, they are really the backbone of providing the assets that make the instructor get airborne and fight the physical machine that he has to fight against the enemy. They put in long hours every day, working you know, sometimes 18 to 24 hours a day, 2 cycles of maintenance throughout the day to prep those airplanes, prep the combat systems that are required for the pilot to employ, you know, the machine that employs the weapon systems, the radars, the radios, make sure you know, even down to the landing gear comes up and down. You know, all of those things are all critical aspects of the fight and getting the pilot and the aircraft airborne, taking the fight forward, and getting the airplane back on deck. And then those Marines quickly turn around and get that airplane serviced, fixed, and right back into the fight. They are really without the Marines in the maintenance that are inside of the squadrons, this would all be for naught, and they really are the backbone that pins up MDTC. So the planning of MDTC it's about a 3 to 4 month process. It starts with you know, talking with MOTS 1 and figuring out the aircraft requirements, the flows, scheduling of airspace out over the water here in Beaufort, and it goes down as detailed to then working with the air station, air traffic control, fuels. It is planned almost to the nth detail to where every aircraft has a plan for where they're going to go get fuel. You know, it takes a lot of support. The MWSD is, you know, supports with their fuels company. It is a finely tuned, orchestrated dance that happens every day that goes into planning, you know, air crew, who's going to fly what aircraft, what squadron is supporting the aircraft that support the course, the F5s from VMFT 401 and their support and requirement, the detailed adversary type presentations that are given to the students, all the way down to the Lance Corporal in base ops who has to figure out you know, air traffic control codes for the aircraft. So it is a very detailed dance that happens every day to support the course. There will be a graduation on February 1st. We will graduate our 5 MDTC crews going through the course, and 3 air intercept controller students will be here at MCAS Beaufort, and the guest speaker will be Assistant Deputy Commandant for Aviation, Brigadier General Goering. So the one part that's separate from MDTC, I'm going to go back and hit on the 80% readiness initiative just to kind of make that just one blurb. In addition to MDTC, at the completion of MDTC on February 1st, we will execute a fleet readiness initiative to show where we're at in the execution of the memorandum from the Office of the Secretary of Defense to show 80% readiness of the TAC air community across DoD, F-18 included in that. In conjunction with MAG 11 in Miramar, we will fly every Buno that we can, when I say Buno, every aircraft that is flyable, we will put into the air on Friday the 1st. We have seen F-18 readiness, material readiness in the aircraft has been a concern of the Secretary of Defense. We're going to show what those dollars that the Congress has put in, the additional funding that Congress has put in to the Marine Corps budget for aviation, and show them that their dollars have shown an increase in F-18 material readiness. It has been a slow increase. We are starting to see the effects of those dollars as we slowly climb out of a readiness trough that we have. We are not completely out, and we still need continued support from Congress and funding levels to where they're at now to see those initiatives through in the follow-on years to make sure that we can continue on that upward glide slope to get our material readiness back where it needs to be to take the fight forward for the nation. For the MDTC student, his average day starts at about 4:30 in the morning. They get up, they come in, they sit through a morning briefing, which is a mass brief where all of the air crew who are flying that day, to include the F-5 air crew, all get together and talk about the safety aspects, the execution of the flight, not down to the tactical execution, but we'll have a safety brief. And then they will go talk about the weather, talk about restrictions at the airfield, restrictions on the airspace, and then they'll go out and do their tactical level briefings. That's for about another hour and a half. Then they will go down to flight equipment. They will get dressed in their gear, and then they will go walk on their airplane, man the airplane up, and then execute their flight event. That time in total from there, you're running at about the 4 to 5 hour mark from when they started. And then they'll, post-execution, they'll go into a debrief. They'll go over to a tactical facility here in Beaufort, and they'll watch a replay of the event, and they will debrief the event for sometimes, as little as an hour, sometimes in upwards of 2 to 3 hours. Post the debrief, then they'll go and sit down with their MOTS instructor, and they will go get the higher learning points that need to be pulled out, some critiquing, and then they'll go on to execution into planning for the next day. And then this cycle will repeat itself for about 3 days, or will repeat itself for 3 weeks. So it's a pretty intense training regimen for them, but it is good because they are 100% tactically focused while they're here. They don't do any of their ground jobs or other jobs that they have in the squadron. They are just focused on being a tactically proficient F-18 pilot.